For me, it's about the law and people. How am I supposed to quantify the value of these things when I don't have evidence?
I'm sorry.
And how people can resolve their problems and just be better for it.
Justice with passion.
I always knew I was going to go into law because I tried to see everybody's point of view in an argument. You say one thing, she says another. So who am I to believe?
Justice with truth.
Either you make the decision or I make the decision. You won't like mine.
This is Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Sarah Callahan is suing Marcus Hart in the amount of $380.51. Ms. Callahan claims Mr. Hart refused to fill her prescription and says she got stuck overnight after traveling to have it filled by another pharmacist.
Ms. Callahan, I understand you are suing your pharmacist?
Yes.
Because he refused to fill a prescription for the morning after pill?
Yes.
Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And you're suing him for $380.51?
Yes.
Okay. Explain, please.
So I was having protected sex. When the condom broke, I was put in a horrible situation. I was doing everything I possibly could to make sure that this situation did not happen. When I called my doctor, they wrote me a prescription, and when I went to the pharmacy, he told me that he refused to fill it for me. At first I thought maybe there's a shortage or maybe he doesn't have it in stock right now. But he informed me that he did have it in stock, but I would either have to wait multiple days for him for another pharmacist to come in to fill the prescription, but he refused to fill it for me.
Okay.
I then started to get upset, asked him what he expected me to do. I needed this medication. I have endometriosis. I cannot get pregnant, or I am at risk of having an ectopic pregnancy, and he's basically handing me down a death sentence by refusing this medication for me.
Okay.
I don't understand how this could even possibly be legal.
Mr. Hart, she came as a patient. Had she been there before to your pharmacy? Have you ever filled a prescription for her before?
Well, that's what got me, upset, because there's a history in the system when I looked up her name of her getting this prescription drug for a supposedly emergency situation. So it hasn't happened once. It shows a clear pattern of loose behavior.
How many times had this happened?
At least 15.
Whoa. 15 times?
Yes, and that's what, I just was absolutely taken
it's
aback.
not your, personally you could judge, but as a pharmacist, it's not your position to judge loose behavior. It's your prescription to either fill a prescription or not,
That's
right?
correct.
So you looked up her name and her past history, and you saw that this prescription had been filled on numerous
times, yes.
And based on that, you decided you did not want to fill the prescription.
No, I'm against this pill because I'm against abortion. I don't believe in taking an innocent life.
Okay.
Now the pattern of behavior is what disturbed me.
The morning after is not used for abortion. It's used to prevent.
It's not. It's meant to prevent. Yes, correct.
Okay. But you did not want to fill it because you felt.
Because I disagree with.
Have you ever filled the prescription? Then who filled the prescription on those 15 times for her?
Well, another pharmacist that is employed by me.
Okay, and that pharmacist was not in that day?
Correct, and I gave her the option. He was going to be working in 2 days.
Mm-hmm. And you couldn't wait for 2 days because?
Because it would have been ineffective at that time. Okay. I needed to take it within 72 hours.
And you had used this 15 times before? Is he exaggerating, or that many times?
I don't know the exact number, but I need to take this medication. I cannot get pregnant.
I understand that, but that's a lot of times.
May I also say that I did not turn her away. I could have. I could have just said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to fill the prescription, and send her on her way. But what I did is, when she turned me down for the other pharmacist who was going to work in 2 days, I made the offer to reach out to other pharmacies to find out which pharmacy had the drug and which pharmacy would fill the prescription. And it turned out that the pharmacy that I found was 70 odd miles away. That's not my doing. It was the first one that had the right criteria.
Okay.
And so I gave her the information, and she clearly did get the prescription filled because she's not pregnant.
Okay. So how long did it take you to find a pharmacy that would fill the prescription in the local area?
It took like 15 minutes out of my day, and we were very, very busy that day.
Okay.
And on top of that, she got very combative, and she was screaming at me, and it was a busy, busy day. Lots of customers. It was very stressful, honestly.
Coming up on Justice for All.
He cast this judgment on people, and he's supposed to be helping people with their health. I have health problems, and he's refusing to help me with my health.
And later,
Tuesday morning, I'll wake up a little earlier before I go to work, go get the tire fixed, and return her car properly. As I did that, I got pulled over by the cops.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Sarah Callahan, who is suing Marcus Hart for $380.51.
So you found somebody for her.
I
Took
did.
the time to find somebody for her about 70 miles away.
Yes.
What did you do, Ms. Callahan?
I then had to drive the 72 miles away, and while I was there, I got stuck. There was a storm front that rolled in, and so I had to buy a hotel room, had to stay there overnight. I missed out on a day of work. I work as a teacher. My students missed out on a day of me being there, helping them, teaching them.
Okay, so that's the $380
Yes.
you're suing for. Okay. Okay, Mr. Hart, so as many may not agree with your decision, can you explain to me what legal grounds you have to make such decisions? I know, but please explain to me what those legal grounds are.
Of course, Your Honor. It's my business. I've owned this business for 35 years, and I'm in business to help people with legitimate medical issues, with health issues. And as far as I'm concerned, because I'm the business owner, I am allowed that right.
Okay. All
And
right.
it's against my moral grounds to fill that
understand.
prescription.
All right, but I also understand that in your state you're protected by state law for refusing to fill a prescription.
That is correct.
And you don't even have the obligation to find suitable accommodations. You
No.
could just say, I'm not gonna fill it, period.
I
right?
could have just sent her packing.
Do you often refuse other prescriptions for other patients? Do you do that? Is that something that's normal for you?
No.
Okay. Do you do it once a month, twice a month, once a year?
It happens every now and then. It's nothing regular. I wouldn't say it's monthly. I wouldn't say there's any regularity to it, but it has
But you
happened
have
in
done it before.
Correct.
Okay. All right. For similar type drugs or for other?
Only that specific drug.
All right. Okay. So, Ms. Callahan, do you understand what I just said about state law
Yes.
and about his right of refusal? Mm-hmm. He has the right to refuse service?
Yes.
Like at a restaurant, I have the right to refuse service to anybody I want. As any type of legal professional or business, they have a right to refuse service to certain people. It's just they have a right to do that. And under your state, there's law that protects pharmacists from refusing to fill a prescription based on moral or religious grounds. So there's nothing I can do about that. As harsh as it seems, there's nothing I can do about that. So I don't know if you knew that before you did this lawsuit, before you actually went forward for this lawsuit. And I understand for you is more principle than anything, because I'm sure it cost you more than $380 to file the claim and get here and miss work, etc. So I understand the purpose of your suit, but he's protected under the law.
This is just ridiculous. He cast this judgment on people, and he's supposed to be helping people with their health. I have health problems, and he's refusing to help me with my health.
But he has a right to do that. Under the law, he did nothing wrong. I can't overturn the law. Emotions, personal opinions don't matter when it's the law. When it's written in black and white, that is the law.
And there's a lack of, I'm sorry, Your Honor, there's a lack of personal responsibility here because she knows that she has a medical condition.
Well, listen, I'll draw the line there because that's none of your business.
Okay.
You have the right to refuse whatever the heck you want. But judging on her lack of responsibility, just keep that to yourself because it's completely irrelevant, right? So don't pass judgment, just like I'm not passing judgment on you, or I'm passing judgment on Ms. Callahan. As a woman, yes, of course, I wish you would be more careful. I understand the situation you're in. If you know you have an issue where you should not get pregnant, then maybe try to find another permanent way. Because is taking the morning after pill, is there a risk to yourself? Is there a risk to your body using it so many times? I don't know these questions. These are things that are just popping in my mind. They have nothing to do with the legality of the case. But what I'm telling you is that based on the law in your state, Mr. Hart, as a pharmacist, is protected under the law to refuse to fill a prescription based on moral or religious grounds, period. And he didn't even have the responsibility to try to find another pharmacist to do it, but he actually did. 70 miles away, but you knew you had to do that. So for me to turn around and grant your claim would be improper under the law because he did everything he did. He had a right to do it. So the costs you incurred were out of your own volition to go to the other pharmacist. Okay?
Okay.
So based on that, I will refuse your claim for $380.51. All right? Good luck, Ms. Callahan. Please be careful next time.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
There's a war on women in this country and it needs to be stopped.
The law is the law, and I believe what I believe, and the law protects my belief.
Coming up on Justice for All.
I would, because my parents taught me right, I would give you the $200 to pay for the ticket. But that's me. I don't think that's her.
You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Carlos Gonzalez is suing Bianca Hernandez in the amount of $425. Mr. Gonzalez claims he was ticketed for having expired tags while borrowing his friend's car and says he shouldn't have to pay for her negligence.
Mr. Gonzalez, you are suing the defendant, Ms. Hernandez, for $425. What happened?
I borrowed her car over the weekend, and she had expired tags. I had no idea that those tags were expired.
You didn't look?
Oh, I didn't bother to look. I didn't feel it was my responsibility to go around the car and inspect it. We had an agreement that she would let me borrow her vehicle over the weekend if I returned it by Monday after running a few errands for her. Yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Hernandez, when did the tags expire? The registration?
The tags expired about a month prior, and I had that grace period, and Monday was the day that the grace period was over.
And you let him borrow the car knowing the tags were expired?
I did let him borrow the car, yes, and it had slipped my mind at the time.
Okay. All right. What happened, Mr. Gonzalez, next?
So she told me to run a few errands for her. Okay. So I had to go ahead and drop off a few cat supplies to one of our mutual friends. Dropped off those supplies. I ended up having to go do an oil change, which I figured I'll do that as a favor because she's letting me borrow her car. I went to go do the oil change. I paid for it out of my pocket.
I got it.
As I was
paid
leaving,
out of your pocket.
Yes,
well,
right.
How much did you spend on oil change?
$75.
Okay, $75.
Yes, so as I was leaving, I was driving the vehicle back to her house. I ended up getting a flat tire. Once I looked at all the other 3 tires, they were fine, but they were pretty old. They seemed like they were never been changed since the day they bought the vehicle. I couldn't go and actually replace it at the moment, so I was like, okay, Tuesday morning, I'll wake up a little earlier before I go to work, go get the tire fixed, and return her car properly.
Coming up.
Unfortunately, the state of California will give the driver the ticket. Strict liability, no questions asked.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's your car, my car, Cinder's car.
You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Carlos Gonzalez, who is suing Bianca Hernandez for negligence.
And the police officer pulled me over, told me, do you know why I pulled you over? And I said, I have no idea. I was driving fine. He told me, do you know that the tags are expired? And I was like, well, I have no idea because this is not my vehicle. So he told me, whose is it? I said, it's my friend's Bianca. She's out of town. She let me borrow it. Then he gave me a ticket.
How much was the ticket?
Ticket was about $200.
$200. Is it about or was it?
It is exactly $200, yes.
So $200 for the ticket, okay? And I guess the rest is the oil change in the tire?
Yes,
that you're
the
suing
oil
for?
change in the tire, correct.
Unfortunately, the state of California will give the driver the ticket. Strict liability, no questions asked.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's your car, my car, Cinder's car, it does not matter. Or Bianca's car. The driver will get the ticket. So the ticket is your responsibility.
Correct.
You have to pay the $200. It sucks, but you drove, that's the state of California. I can't do anything about that. You drove the car,
That's right.
tickets are expired, you have to pay for it.
That's right.
Period. What I would do if I were a responsible Gen Z, millennial, etc., or just a regular old adult that's 18 and older, when I knew I allowed my friend to use my car with an expired registration, knowing there was a potential risk of him pulling over, and then on top of that, asking you to do tons of favors and errands for me after you were nicely doing oil change and you get my tire change, I would, because my parents taught me right, I would give you the $200 to pay for the ticket. But that's me. I don't think that's her.
Judge Perez's verdict when Justice for All returns. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez.
I could say, okay, if the law allowed me, I would make her pay you back, but I can't even do that. So unfortunately, I'm going to deny that part of the claim for the $200.
And what about
for
the tire
ticket.
and the oil
Well,
change?
it sounds like the oil change, you said you did it out of personal favor because you were so grateful to her.
And Your Honor, I did have the intention of helping out with the tire when I returned. He got it fixed before we had spoken. We had that agreement. I said I would pay you back.
I got it fixed.
Then
It was
I
flat.
had to take care of my car. I had to get a P&O. Funds went there. And so I would still be willing to help with that tire. I mean, of
Okay,
course.
how much are you going to pay him?
The $150. It was, he was driving on my car.
Are you voluntarily saying that you will reimburse him $150 out of the goodness of your own heart? Okay, can you say it out loud so we can put it on the record?
Yes, I'm voluntarily offering you the $150 for my tire.
Okay.
I can't help you with the ticket, though.
Not even half?
That's what you should really be paying for, but whatever. So based on the evidence, I will grant the plaintiff's claim in part for $150 only. Good luck, guys.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $150.
I'm sorry that you still have to pay that ticket. I'm more than happy to help you with the tire, though. Of course, thank you for helping me with my tire.
Well, I wish you had extra $100 that you can help me with, because I don't. I seriously don't. You know my problems.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.